Got the chats open. Okay, so today we're gonna be doing the sample chop record recipe, and this is basically just like flipping a sample. So this is one of the fucking most old school ways of working, and it is one of the most effective skills to learn, because when you're flipping a record, you're not only learning how to chop things up and make grooves in a drum rack, but you're learning how to train your ear to find out what scale things are in and to kind of work with the material, you know? So a lot of people, when they think about writing music, they think about, like, you know, deaf Beethoven writing his, like, symphonies while he can't hear, like, hearing everything in his head, and it's just all perfect in your head. Writing electronic music isn't like that. Like, you're basically working with the material, and you're working, you know, like you try some stuff, you see what works, and you let it spark new ideas that you're then bringing to the table. So working with working with a sample from an already finished piece of music, it's like, you know, your job is to mutate, right? And that's often your job as a producer, is to, like, mutate and take things further. And when you're working on this exercise, basically what you're doing is you're going to take a whole record and break it out into the pads, and then we're going to say, like, hey, you know, like, how can we make one idea into 4 or more ideas? And that's really the most important lesson of this. Like, even if you're not making sample flips later, it's like, how do you take one idea and turn it into a whole track worth of stuff? And one of the big mistakes that people make when they're starting to make music is they think that a track needs to have a million fucking ideas in it, and it needs to be this huge journey with all these different, you know, places that are totally fucking different from each other, and key changes and tempo changes and all this shit. And it's like, why do that? And it's because you're not, like, emotionally comfortable, you know? And the reason why is you're trying to fucking impress people. You're trying to show off. You're trying to say, hey, I'm not the kind of producer who does things the easy way. You know, I'm a fancy producer. I do things the hard way all the time. Yeah,
There's a massive load at the door. I just need if anyone can help me bring this up.
Oh, okay.
I'll bring it back.
Cool, thanks. All right, I'll pick a sample, and then we'll let's see, that hip hop one. Oh yeah, maybe some Far Side. Although I don't want the thing to get taken down. Here, let's try this electronica, some, like, 90s.
Here we go.
Electronica, I think. Oh, drum and bass from the 90s in FLAC files. Awesome. Yo, do they have that fucking 31 Seconds song? Oh, those are all pretty good. Those are all pretty good. Yeah, actually, I kind of feel like doing that 31 Seconds song. What was that one called? Yeah, Origin Unknown, Long Dark Tunnel. Fuck this song, it's so good. Let's see if it's a good copy. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, let's do this track. This track is, like, one of the best drum and bass tracks. Like, here, check it out.
Is it 90s drum and bass?
Yeah, super fucking old.
Awesome.
But here, check out that arpeggiator. classic.
That's dope.
Stone Cold classic, dog. It's kind of shitty resolution, but whatever. It's just the timer beat. Okay. So, let's load that into the ABABs. And then, come on, show in Finder. That's what I clicked. Or you could just not. You could just not. Just totally ignore my commands. That's cool too. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's go over here to the sample channel. Drag it in and figure out the key and BPM. Although I've probably played enough of it to set off the copyright detection at this point. I love this, how you have to like go away from Ableton and back. Okay. Okay, so, whoa, whoa, my mouse is acting all weird. Is that?
It's pretty dope. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I think I have to reboot. Look, my mouse, like I click and it selects a different thing.
At first it sleeps and now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I didn't miss much.
Yeah, now I can't click things. Fucking
Oh,
weird. Okay,
man.
I gotta restart this computer. God fucking damn it, man. Apple, get your shit together. Although, to be fair, it could be the beta. To be fair. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is, like, what this exercise is an exercise of taking one thing and turning it into four entirely different sections, right? And the big kind of thing that people do when they're writing that is a big problem is they'll work and then they'll come up with an idea that is good and they're like, great, this idea is good, what do I add? And then they'll go reach for another sound.
Right.
And that's not what you want to do.
I'm guilty of that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all are. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is when you find an idea that is like fucking really speaking to you, you want to go further in, right? You want to go deeper into that idea and you want to make it into more ideas that are based on that same main idea. And then that one idea properly fucking executed, it contains enough material for the whole track, right? So when we're flipping these sounds onto the drum pads, we're going to be basically trying to, not just have one section or whatever. We're going to be trying to make like a whole song worth of sections out of that one idea going down the session view, right? And, when you're chopping them onto the drum pads, the tendency is to want to fill all the drum pads and make everything all complicated, right? And really, it's much better to have a few simple chops that sound great, that are really like, high grade fucking chops, than to try and have a whole ton of chops that are all like, like when you're doing it, you got to do like little runs of 4, and you want to check here. Let's see if the push is gonna load up properly. It was kind of being a little annoying before. Oh yeah, it's working. Okay, so you want to go into the chops and just find little families of 4 chops, 4 or less.
That all work together?
That all work together. That could be a section. So,
Okay, cool.
Your bottom chops, that's typically using the sample straight up, right?
So it's like a 3 or 4 bar cut of the sample?
Yeah, it could be a 3 or 4 bar cut of the sample, or it could just be, the sample kind of triggering.
Okay.
And then your second row up of chops, this is where you've now introduced the sample, and you want to start flipping the sample. You want to start making a new pattern that could be used as a drop or whatever, right? Or some kind of like your version, right? And then the third one, this is where you want to start getting more experimental with your chops, fucking pitching them around, or like, putting LFOs on them, or envelopes, or things that make them a bit crazy. And then the top row, this is for shit that's just like wild. So usually top right is a riser. Second from the top right is like some kind of rewind or like a turnaround that you can use for the end of a fill. And then those two on the left, those are kind of like glitches or whatever. And then sometimes you have a stop clip. If you're using the play forward and stop mode, like called one shot, then you want to have like a stop for it. Okay, so now let's see if we can find the key and BPM of this sample. Okay, so let's try 84. Yeah, old school drum and bass was always a little bit slower. Wow.
That feels right.
Yeah, 82. Yeah, it's holding steady. Okay, so we'll call that 82 BPM. And now we got to find the key so that, you know, all of your new melodies and such will be on the same team. So I'm going to go. So what you do first is you go into C major, right? So that and then put it into chromatic.
All right, because that way
And then
you
you-
get all the keys.
Yeah, then you can see C, C sharp, D, D sharp, right? And then the first thing you're gonna do is play the sample and find the root note. So that is B flat. So C, next white key is B, next black key, B flat. So then you hold scale and you tag the B flat scale. Now, chances are this is in minor.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna go and turn the chromatic mode off on the push, and
You're just gonna jam with the sample playing. Sweet.
that one not really. Yes. Not really. Kind of, yeah. Not. So I noticed that the second kind of sounded sour, and the seventh, usually the seventh step of the scale is like not awesome, right? So if you're in that kind of situation, you might be better off with the minor pentatonic scale. So I'm going to bring it over to the minor pentatonic scale, and that's going to eliminate the second and the seventh. So you got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Right? So it's way less notes, and it's just the kind of like the big notes in the scale. Right? So that, I think, here. But the great thing about the pentatonic scale is any combination works. Any combination works. So it's often like a little bit easier to write in a pentatonic scale. So we've got pentatonic scale. Let's go. I think I might want to do some bass checkers on this one. So let's see what we got. So I'm going to tune my bass checkers.
What exactly are the bass checkers?
Well, you make a checkerboard.
Okay.
It's like a little checkerboard for checkerboarding.
And so like you have like all 12 root notes and like nice bass
No, you don't. You just have whatever notes you want to add.
Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I just get a couple notes that are going to be in tune there. Probably I'm not going to use it, but I might. I've also, you may have noticed, my Reese has a riser in it because I almost always use it as like a riser in my breakdowns and stuff. Hey Sean, how's it going? Is this stream okay? I'm not seeing a lot of action and comments on there. Like, is the quality okay? Or maybe my rant was boring for people. I don't know why nobody's engaging over there, but is the stream going good? Did a bunch of adjustments to the stream to make it nicer yesterday, so hopefully they hold. Okay, so we've got our track now. That, you can do that beforehand. If you decide you have any, I think my patches are probably good, but this is usually where you decide, like, do I have any patches that are like not relevant for this, or are all my patches fantastic? Decide that. And then I like to put one of them in there on the chops. I'll put it on one-shot mode so that, so when you hit it,
It plays all the way through.
right? But the problem with one-shot mode is that you need to have a stop clip. So I'll often put like this one, just copy it over and then mute it. And then I'll press shift and tag the pad, color it red. If you press shift and hit the pad, then it gives you, okay, cool, glad the stream's good. Or I guess everybody was just chill and listening. Okay, and then that will get you, like a stop clip gives you the ability to, oops, I made those the wrong ones. There we go, drag it. Yeah, anytime you drag a drum pad onto another drum pad, they switch. But yeah, so now I've got a stop clip that's gonna kill everything. And yeah, so now I'm pretty much ready to start my timer. Let's just make sure that this keyword's working. Okay, low pass on my delay, put the feedback, low pass on my reverb, and probably take the reverb down. Cool, so everything's more or less at its initial position now. So I'm gonna go in here and put on airplane mode and do not disturb. And then I'm gonna go get my timer app. And then this is the sample chop timer. So chop sample onto drum rack pads, make 4 8-bar patterns, make beats for your patterns, add subs and effects, make a drop, arrangement, transitions, and a chimer. Okay, so those are my steps. It's like a variation of the Magic timer. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's basically the same steps that you have, except for instead of find a new melody, it's add subs and sound effects.
So you're just trying to like dress up the sample chops with your.
Yeah, we're not trying to make new riffs in this one. I mean, I might at some point, but that's not really like super objective. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete the sample, and then yeah, let's start the timer and see what happens. Turn it up nice and loud so that everybody on the YouTubes can hear my my timer lady. I'll make a little room for my hands there. Okay, here we go.
Chop sample onto drum rack pads.
Okay, so that was cool. Now I'm using the push to chop. Okay, and then I think I want that little bubble. Okay. Let's see what else I can find for like a drop kind of thing. Oh yeah, that. I want that 31 seconds.
31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds.
Okay, I probably want it backwards too. So I'm gonna flip one of these backwards, reverse sample. Let's see what we got. Ooh. Okay, now here. Okay, so now let's make some fucked up ones. Okay, and then that's gonna be my riser. Come on. Copy. Yeah, there we go. Bring that in. Put on to classic, put on loop. A little fade on it. Crank that up. Crank that up. Now I need a rewind. So then how? So now you upgrade. Right click, simpler to sampler. Now it's a sampler. Put the reverse on. And then turn the pitch envelope on. Crank it all the way up. And then you want to do this shape with the. And then turn that down. And then you can get a spin back. You can drag it out. Okay. Okay, now what happens? Let's do some. So you gotta make some patterns now. Okay, so pattern 1. Oh, I moved my chop by accident. Okay, so let's zoom in. I thought that was a little funny. Yeah, it's easy to accidentally move your chops. Okay. Okay, that's pattern 1. Yeah. 2.
31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds.
Okay, that'll be pattern 3, and then. Okay, that's a build up.
More help.
Oh yeah, let's do the felt like goes in this long dark tunnel.
Help that I was in this long dark tunnel. Help that I was in this long dark tunnel. Help.
Okay, so that could be a good one. Now let's do some. Oh, I think I need a snare on this one, so I'm gonna duplicate that, get a snare and my little. Yeah, let's do something. Do like a
Less
snare.
halfway.
Okay, that's a good one. Now let's try and make a. Let's try and make it a little more fancy. Oops, not that one. Delete. Yeah, so I can use that stock clip for this. Okay, cool. That'll be like a more kind of droppy one.
Help.
Yeah, something fucking wonky. Oh, fuck that up. Okay.
Make beats for your patterns
Okay, cool.
for 5 minutes.
So now we gotta make beats for these.
2, 1. Make beats for your patterns.
Help that I was in this long.
Okay, so now let's take this. That can be a breakdown later. Yeah, this is a good spot for drums. Let's try that. Yeah, try like. Okay, that could be one version. Let's duplicate this and see if we can make another scene that has more oomph. maybe that snare's a little too. Yes. Okay, let's see what other scenes we got. Whoa, there we go. Now let's undo that. Let's go back to the note repeat. Yeah, let's try something like that. Yeah, let's do something like this. Yeah, that's supposed to be. Oops. Okay, it's supposed to be that. And then what do we got here? Now, so let's do this one like. Oh yes, no repeat off. See what we got here on this one. Okay. Oh yeah, then this one probably the same beat. Okay, let's go back to the mud pies. It's a little too crazy. Yeah. Okay, and then that one here. Then this one will have one last, like. Okay, I can start making subs for these. So here.
Add subs and SFX for 5 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Add subs and SFX.
Probably the same bass line. Actually, no, this is more of a build-up. This is more of like an intro. intro, I think, this pattern. But here, let's see what we got. Let's see if this works with this bass line. No, it's more of a it needs a different bass line. Let's try this bass line. Okay, and then this one.
Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel.
Or B flat. Okay, so let's do that. And then I want to do pitch down, so I'm going to go here, right click. Come on, give me that. Right click, show modulation. Fuck, come on, give me my modulation. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now let's go up an octave.
Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel. I felt that I was in this long dark tunnel. I felt.
Okay, and then this will be our droppity drop, which is like. Oh yeah! Oh nice! Amazing! I can't wait to wear that. Fuck yeah! Score. Okay, cool. So now let's add some sound effects. Oh, that's exciting. Okay, let's get some noise. Okay, so now what is our big build up?
Felt that I was in this long.
Yeah, here, this one needs a big build up.
Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel.
5, 6, 7, 8.
I felt that I was in this long dark tunnel. I felt that I was in this long dark tunnel.
Okay, and then where's the other one that needs? Yeah, here it needs a riser. And that one's.
Up next.
Oh, let's do this. Build up. Okay, so.
31.
I think this kick is too much in here. Yeah, that'll be the build up and then. And this needs more like splashes and stuff. Robin riser again. Let's get like maybe a vocal in there for this drop. So I'm just trying to make the drops exciting.
Alright. Y'all can't what? What? Y'all can't fuck with us.
One. Okay, then that's like a breakdown. Okay, so that's gonna be black. It's a breakdown, and then okay, so this is kind of drop that kind of goes with these ones. Oops, just got there. So we've got. Okay, that's kind of like just a shittier version of those ones. Yeah, I think maybe that breakdown should come before that build up. Yeah, that'd be build up. Riser there. Okay, then that could be like a riser at the ending, I guess, for some kind of outro build. But it looks like those are our 3 sections. So maybe do that for the outro. This one will be. Yeah, that'll be the outro. And that's nothing. Okay, so we got. I see what's happening there. I need to do my stop clip.
Arrangement plus transitions for 5 minutes. 3, 2,
Yeah, like that.
1.
Okay.
Arrangement plus transition.
Cool. So now I'm gonna arrange this thing by just hitting the enter key again and again. And I'm gonna slowly introduce the track. Okay, cool. So let's go. Record.
Long dark tunnel. He felt that out in this long dark tunnel. He felt that out in this long dark tunnel.
cut time. You're supposed to hit the thing at the end. I'll have to cut that. 5, 6.
Can't fuck with us.
Oh, my mini controller's not working. There we go.
Can't fuck with us.
What? My mini control's not working. Annoying. There we go.
Y'all can't fuck with us.
Cool. Alright, I'll cut those bits out.
Y'all can't fuck with us.
And that'll be our outro. Okay, cool. So let's go in here. And whoa. Did it start recording in like some weird place? Oh, I think it did. Okay, let's go. Take that. That's the start, right? Oh no, this. Where's the start? There's the start. So let's take all of that and cut time. Tidy it up a bit there. And return to arrange. Okay, and there's a couple sections that I think
Y'all can't fuck with us.
Okay, and that y'all can.
Y'all can't.
Oh yeah, that crossfade.
Can't fuck with us.
Fuck that one. That's better. Okay, that's pretty much the outro there. Yeah, I don't think we need this build up. Okay, so about like that. Okay, that's it. I ran out of time. It's my timer. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna render it. Okay. Oh wait. File, save as. Feb 19 long dark tunnel. And then I think I'm gonna actually just last minute change the snare because I don't think it was the most appropriate snare. It's really snappy. Have not tried Bitwig yet, Frank Castle, but one of these days I will. Okay, so the main drum kit, I think. Where is the? Oh, let's go here. Yeah, it's probably gonna sound better. Oh. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try this snare.
Can't fuck with us.
That sounds a bit better. Okay. File, export, February 19th, long dark tunnel. Here we go. So that's basically the exercise. You know, you're trying to make as many different sections as you can out of the sample. You know, you have some simple chops. Maybe like it depends on the sample. You know, sometimes the sample has two sections of just sample straight up, like this one did.
Yeah.
But sometimes you only get one sample, one section of it straight up. But two sections you get for free are the build up, which is like just the riser,
Yeah.
and the sample straight up. So then you only really need to come up with two sections.
You have to show me how to do that riser trick of the sample.
Yeah, I'll show you guys the riser.
That's pretty sweet.
Felt that out in this long dark tunnel.
Should probably take a nighttime session and just like screw around and learn how to use sampler or something, right?
Yeah, there's a sampler deep dive in the weekly download,
There is? Okay.
and there's a simpler deep dive.
Oh,
as well.
Long
beautiful.
dark tunnel.
Those look like they're pretty important tools if you want to get some good
Yeah.
stuff out there.
That out in this long dark tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Fun. That was the section I did twice. Where is it? I knew there was one of those that I did twice. Where is that fucking section? Yeah. Let's see, let's collapse all these. I think it was here. Yeah, there we go. There you go. And then I think on the reverb I meant to.
I didn't know cut time was a thing.
Yeah, cut time is totally a thing. Very useful for the timers.
So it just brings back the sound. That's what it does, I guess.
Maybe like remove some time, like just like the whole section.
Yeah, that reverb needs to be down the whole time. Where is that other fucking riser coming from? I think it's this one. Yeah, that one's gotta end early. There we go. Okay, right, fixed. Okay, I knew it was one of these fucking things that I hit too many times. Okay, file, export. Hi, Alex. Hi, Chris. Hi, Mike. Actually, wait, I'm gonna make one more edit. In this intro section, the sample chops need to have no high pass. Yeah, the high pass shouldn't come on.
Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel.
Yeah, it should come on basically there.
Felt
And the riser, the sub riser, this guy's gotta go and here. And there. There we go. Okay, now that's it. Last edit, swear to God. Yeah, it sounds way better without that high pass. Yeah, it needs that original sub for this section.
felt that I was in this long dark tunnel. Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel. Felt that I was in this long dark tunnel.
The sub though.
Yeah, the long slow bend just always sounds good. Yeah.
I can't fuck with us. I can't fuck with us. Alright, so that's the time review for today. So that's the sample chop recipe. It's a little bit easier if you use a funk record, because that one I pretty much just had the arpeggiator. So I would suggest going into the Dusty Fingers collection or one of those other funk collections and just trying to make like some lo-fi like boom bap hip hop to start. But yeah, that's the sample chop recipe. So it's really like, you know, it's really that first two steps of like actually breaking the sample out onto the drum rack pads and then sequencing the chops determines a really great deal of how the rest of the thing kind of works out.
Yeah.
So definitely spend a lot of your time on that. And then probably just use the magic timer, but with sample chops, you know, because the part where you make extra riffs, I don't know, it just sounds a bit more fun. This one I think was missing the extra riffs. So I don't know. So do like the magic timer that I had you guys program yesterday.
Yeah. But instead of the riff section, just do.
No, just do the add riffs.
Oh, add riffs.
Add
okay.
riffs. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, the main thing is to get your key and BPM picked and get a few sounds picked that you think are gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
And then do it. But
really it's all about making those 4 little families of sounds and thinking of the 4 as each having a section. And then the riser, how you make the riser is, let's go to our sample chops here. The riser, how you make the riser is that you go in and you make a little loop, right?
Okay.
So you want to put it on classic mode so that it's just like you hold down the key in the sample plays, you let the key up and the sample stops, as opposed to one shot mode, which is it's really nice, but it's not what you want for this. So you put it on classic mode and you make a little tiny loop. And then you go to the controls, you put the pitch envelope, amount all the way up, attack all the way up. And then that gives you the longest attack into the maximum rise.
Okay.
Okay? And then to make the spin back, you want to make this shape of envelope, which you can only make in the sampler. So you right click and turn simpler into sampler. You see that bottom option is for switching back and forth. So turn simpler into sampler, and the key is to crank that all the way up and put the sustain all the way down, so that it's going all the way up 48 semitones and then all the way down 48 semitones. But usually that's too high, so you got to transpose the whole thing down 24 to make it work. So it's going up 24 and then down like 72. Okay? And then this decay parameter, this is what you need, because the normal envelope is like that. You need the opposite curve like that. Okay, so then you can only do that in Sampler. Sampler's envelope has that, but Simpler's does not. Okay, so that's how you make a spin back.
Okay.
But yeah, spin backs are very, very useful thing to know how to make. So, you know, in my case, the bottom row was this, which leads into that, and then I had, right, and
31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds.
right, so those ones there, and then
A couple of verses.
and that this stop clip here, that
Is just a clip with the mute on it?
yeah, it's just a clip with nothing, but because they're all in that choke group, it kills it.
Oh, yeah.
So you use that to make a stop. Stops on the snares sound really good because a beat should have a push and a pull, right? Usually the kick is the push, the snare is the pull. So having the sample stop on the snare, if you start listening for that in like lo-fi hip-hop or a lot of other genres, just having a stop on the snare, or like rat-a-tat, every rat-a-tat chord progression, it's all like blah, da, blah, da, blah, da, da, blah, da, you know, like every time. And it just has a really nice feel to have a stop on the snare. So a lot of the time you'll just be doing the snare rhythm on the stop, and it'll just cut off all of your one-shot mode samples on the stops. So that I find really helps. And then you want like all your wacky shit up top. And then sometimes, like in this one, I needed another edit, so I just popped, because I wanted to have a snare. So I just popped that up in the top row, and then you see there's 2 empty. You know, you don't have to fill them all. You don't have to fill them all, and it's better to spend more time on on it. Now, if I'd been thinking clearly, I would have done. Oops, I would have gone duplicate that here.
31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds. 31 seconds.
So that into a bar,
31 seconds.
and then I would have gone warp, and then
31 seconds.
I would have gone on texture.
31 seconds.
That would have been smart. I forgot to do that. But yeah, so you just make it an even length of bars and then warp it, and then you can half time and double time. You just have to make it some even amount. It only really warps in increments of like 2 beats or 4 beats or whatever.
So you gotta get on like a downbeat for it to
Yeah,
sound
so
right.
you got to make it so that this thing is the right length, and then you hit warp, and then you can like, you know. Right. But yeah, so that's the sample chop recipe. So yeah, I want you guys to make it through that recipe.
Okay.
And do it first slow with the recipe,
and then see if you can get it into a timer.
Into a timer.
Because that timer, like when you're flipping a sample, that incorporates pretty much all the basic skills. Because you're jamming with the sample, you're using one idea to make many ideas, and then you're also like learning how to riff off of a thing, you know, because it's really important to kind of just like learn how to feel it out and be like, okay, what other synth parts does this call for and stuff. But yeah, so that's the basics of the sample chop timer. So do the sample chop recipe slow.
Yeah.
Ask me any questions that you have along the way. And then from there, I want to see you do a couple sample chop timers. But do it slow first and then fast. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Lots of love. See you soon. Peace.